Hi, good people. Thank you for always coming in. And today I want us to talk a little bit about issues of debts. You know, the world that we're living in, there are a lot of expenses that come along, and most of the time you find yourself in debts. And if you have not found yourself in debts, owing people some money, you might be one day. But one of the key things I do in this channel is just to give you hope, encourage you, share with you information that I feel that can be able to help you. One of the ways I've noted can really help you, especially when you have debts, is basically listing every debts. I know you might be having several debts here and there, and one of the ways that you can be able to help you to repay the debts is basically by listing them. It's very much important to list them, because when you assume that you owe people some money and you are not able to list them, you're not able to know exactly the exact amount, then it keeps you with a lot of fear, and you might not have a very good plan to repay. And so one of the ways you can be able to deal with the issues of paying the debts is first by listing. And it's very much important to list the debt, because to be honest, it's painful to write down the money you owe to people. You know, it makes the situation feel real, but it's also very powerful. So facing it gives back the steering wheel of your life, because when you write it back, it's very much important. So the first thing it does is that when you list down the debts, is that you take control back. It's very much important, because as long as it's just a cloud, you're not very sure how much you owe people, you don't have that particular control. So it's good for you to list and say, I have this amount of money that I owe people. If you owe people $10, $20, it's very much important for you to list them. Very much important, because that debt no longer controls you with fear. When you know how much you owe, it becomes a line in a plane. So you can be able to say now that this is not just a permanent, I can work on this. So you're able to know exactly how much you owe the person, and you're able to come up with a plan. And the next thing, which is very much important for you to list the debts that you owe, is because you reduce the fear of the unknown. You know, sometimes it's very important to fight something that you know. When you know what you're fighting, it becomes easy for you to be able to know how to conquer. So if you owe someone some money, one of the best ways to be able to deal with that is basically writing it down. And when you get to know it, how much you owe the person, then it reduces that fear. You know, unlisted debts create anxiety. You feel like it's everywhere. So, you know, some debts are smaller than you feared. If we even have others that have very high interest, a few can also be negotiated. You can be able to go to that person and negotiate with them. So it brings that clarity, and you're able not to be scared. Another reason why you need to list down your debts is because you stop reacting and start strategizing. You know, if you owe someone some money, you know about it, but you feel pain, you have not been able to pay the money. But when you know exactly how much it is, for example, if it is $10, $20, $100, you stop reacting and you start strategizing. You start planning, how do I repay that particular money? And so when you don't clear the list, you keep on reacting. And reacting is basically borrowing from point A to pay point B. And that is a challenge that I've noted many people are having a challenge with. So you find using an app to pay a rent, or you're anxious, so you borrow here to pay another loan, and it becomes a big challenge to you. Now, the other thing why it's very much important for you to list the debt is that you realize it's not hopeless, or you realize that there is a lot of hope. You know, there's something powerful about seeing the total amount. Even if it is painful, there is something important by seeing the total amount. You might say, okay, I owe around 50,000 in total, but if I clear 5,000 per month, then in 10 months I'll be clean. So it gives you a lot of hope. So it's very much important for you to list the debts that you owe people. And that's freedom. That is where the freedom comes in. It gives you hope, because now the storm has a name. It has a plan. and it has an end. So it's very much important for you to be able to do that. And so I want to encourage you today that if you owe someone some money, just list them down, get to know how much it is, and then with time just come up with a plan, and then you'll be able to clear it. So if you are afraid to list your debts, ask yourself, what is more scarier, facing the truth or staying stuck forever? So that is my encouragement to you. Please, that's one of the ways I've noted you can be able to deal with the issues of debts, and it's basically listing them. It's very much important. Thank you so much. Share this message. Remember to subscribe. This is Hope for Every Day. I'm creating hope, especially if you're going through a challenge or a crisis when it comes to debts. See you guys.